Hello and welcome to part 22. And throughout the whole series, you may have noticed that I have sort of recapped throughout, and I may have gone over the same things more than once. And sometimes that's deliberate, just as reminders, just gentle reminders here and there. Sometimes it's just to reiterate the odd point. And sometimes it's even that I've noticed small details left out when they were mentioned before. So I feel it's always important to come back to it at some point or other, just to fill in the gaps, if you like. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I'm going to do for the first part of this video anyway, just to go over a few things, and we'll see where we go. Yeah, because time always seems to run out. Yeah. Yeah. To really talk about, where I'm coming from here, it's that I wrote the book Pure Observation, not with an intention of selling or, forcing beliefs or, kind of facts or anything like that. In fact, what I'm going to say to you now is that, I would, if I was in a financial position, I would print and give Pure Observation away for free. I just would, because that's how strongly I feel about it. I feel that it's something that should be at least looked at and just taken on board by anyone who follows this case. And if I was in a financial position to just print it and give it away for free, I would actually do that. Yeah, I would. But unfortunately, I'm not. Yeah, so this is why I sell it. And believe me when I say, when people buy this book, I don't actually make a huge amount of money from it. But that's not an issue for me. It just isn't. What's in the book is far more important for me. The other book that I mentioned in one of the other videos, Amityville Gateway of Evil, that's another, matter altogether. It just totally is. That is a piece of artwork, fictional artwork that I'm very, very passionate about, along with my husband, Kit, of course. That is, something that we would love to sell and, really, get it out there. And a dream would be that one day it gets adapted for the big screen. Yeah, that would be wonderful. So as we said, that's a completely different entity, really. Yeah, so just wanted to really get that out there. But to recap on certain things, now, like I say, when it comes to the Lutz story, I've always felt that there are a lot of hoax theories that just don't add up and don't make an awful lot of sense, when really thought about. I mean, for a start, why would anyone ever buy a house that they couldn't afford? It doesn't make sense. You'd know you couldn't afford it. You'd know that your luck's going to run out and you're going to have it repossessed. You wouldn't, go out there on a wing and a prayer thinking, oh, well, let's just scrape a bit of money together and live there for a bit until it gets taken off us. That's ludicrous. It just is plain ludicrous. And it still seems, as crazy as ever to think that anyone would, be wishing to make money from a story that they're, allegedly making up and, going away thinking, well, yeah, we'll sell this and we'll become rich. I mean, again, I just can't see the logic or the sense in that at all. And this is why I feel that, so many things contradict each other. They don't make sense. They don't add up. It's an awful lot of people just wanting to demonize this family and really have a go at them and really, kind of, sort of, paint them in a bad light. It really does seem that. I mean, I really don't see what's wrong with more people, just taking the idea of maybe they got frightened, maybe they got spooked, maybe their imagination ran away with them thinking about the murders. It was an old house that, would have had noisy old pipes and creaky floorboards, maybe a few spooky things happened that were logical. And they believed that something, really sinister was going on, but, to think that this was all created for profit, like I always say, I find that ludicrous. I just do. Yeah. I mean, it's very fair to say that other people who came along afterwards were in it for profit, wishing to, kind of take this story and take it to new levels and sell it in various formats. And along the way, really sort of embellishing it and, adding things to it that weren't true, etc., etc. But, to think that a young family were, coming up with ideas like that, I do find that kind of preposterous. I just do. But like I always say, those are my feelings. I'm not insisting that you agree with me. I only ever ask that you just give it a bit of time and consideration. Just if you never thought like that, maybe just take a few minutes to look at it that way, and just give it a bit of time. That's all I ever ask of anyone. One little thing that did occur to me before when I was talking about Geraldine Gates in that interview, in that documentary that we mentioned before, when she very aggressively, kind of comes out with, how did they get that down payment? As though she really knew a lot about them and seemed to, be privy to their finances, and was, suggesting that they got it through, illegitimate means. Well, I mean, something that I did miss out there was, it's quite easy to just look at the situation and say, well, they hadn't been married very long, and at which point they each had a house to sell. So to be getting their hands on a considerable amount of money to put down as a down payment on a new, better home for themselves, it would pretty much stand to reason that it came from the sales of two houses. So again, I think we can really debunk what Geraldine was trying to get at there. Yeah. So yeah, it's really all about, looking at things in ways that you maybe haven't before. If you're willing to, if you want to, if you don't, that's fine with me. It really is. Because like I say, I can sleep at night knowing that people disagree with me. But I do come across people who don't seem to share the same view. They seem to make it their life's mission to insist that what they believe is the only truth out there. And it does lead to a lot of aggression, a lot of hate. On some occasions, and I'm talking about online here, I'm talking largely within our Facebook group, The Real Amityville Horror. I have come across people who I've clashed with, and if you're watching Sean, yeah, I'm talking about you, yeah. Now, with Sean, he's a great guy. He really is a nice person, but we clashed to begin with, and it was only because that we just sort of butted heads for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. And it was me just trying to say, that let's just look at things a different way. What you've heard, I don't feel you've heard the right version, or that you've been led to believe something is a fact when it's not. And before we knew it, we were having a very civil and pleasant discussion, and we've become quite friendly since. That does happen, and it sometimes, it happens in the least likely circumstances, where we can be really, really, sort of, what the hell are you talking about? Where did you get that information from? I mean, believe what you like. You don't have to believe in ghost stories and demons and things like that. But if you're, kind of going on something here that's, really, really not true and was never said by anyone, then that's not good. You got to expect people to correct you or challenge you on this. You do get people who will, sort of eventually, oh, right, okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I didn't know that. So yeah, now we can talk. It does happen. And equally, there's some very nice people who, think very, very differently, and have their own beliefs and they are not changing. But we can agree to disagree, and we can still, be friendly, and we can still, talk to each other as civil human beings, like adults. Yeah, it can happen, and it does happen, So it just goes to show that, sometimes you think, oh, I'm getting nowhere here with this person, but then next thing you know, it's like, all right, yeah, maybe we've just reached that point that we needed to reach. It's like, oh, okay, now we understand each other. Yeah. And we realized that nobody was meaning any offense. Nobody was meaning to be aggressive. But, it just took a little while to establish that. Yeah. Carrying on very shortly because our 10 minutes is nearly up. Okay. Thank you. Many blessings.